Psychopathic. It's nothing to fear.
So today is Thursday? Today is Thursday. I've done some reading sprints yesterday, but I haven't really been in the mood to read. I think last weekend was pretty intense, so I just needed some time to relax. I got 44 pages in the book that I'm reading right now, The Marionettes by Katie Wismer, and so far it's okay. The writing is easy to get through. I'm just having a hard time focusing. You know, there's a lot to learn in this. This is a urban fantasy romance, I think. It's about witches and vampires at this academy. I think it's fine so far. Sometimes the dialogue feels a little bit forced, but otherwise, I'm enjoying it. I want to see where the story is going. There's a lot of things that I still don't know or don't understand, so I'm super excited to get through it. I don't know if I'll read more than this book this week, just because I haven't really been in the mood to read for a second. So we'll see. Okay, I just wanted to quickly update. We are now Sunday. It's been quite an intense week and end of the week. I haven't read much or anything at all. It just hasn't been a good week for reading. So I did try a few audiobooks. I was reading Ace of Spades as an audiobook, and it's really good, but the audiobook is really long and I just don't have the attention span for it right now, so I just put it aside. and I picked up The Library of the Dead by T.L. Hucho. I'm not loving it. I think the writing could put some people off. I'm not really enjoying the main character or like her personality or anything like that. So yeah, I mean, it's taking a while to get to the plot. It is interesting in the sense of what the plot is about. Basically, she's a ghost talker and she speaks to the dead and carries out their messages to living people, but it's a job, so they have to pay her, and she has this set of rules and all that stuff. And I don't know, I'm not really grasping what the world is about. This is an urban fantasy. It's set in Edinburgh, I think. It says that it's the Sixth Sense meets Stranger Things. So if you're interested, maybe you can pick it up, but I don't know, it's not doing it for me. We got into the library and it's interesting. I just don't necessarily like the voice in the book, so I don't know. I have to give it back today. I'm going to do that, and we'll see if I have some time to finish it in the car. Okay, so I just wanted to quickly update the vlog. I have read a little bit more, so that's great. For The Library of the Dead, I read up until 60% and then I decided to DNF it. I just did not like it. I don't think I've explained very well what the plot was, but it is quite confusing what the plot is actually. But I think basically this girl has dropped out of school in order to pursue a career as a ghost talker, and she gets paid to relay messages from ghosts to the living. So there is a mystery part to this book. I think there are children that disappear and some come back looking old, and basically they have the joy sucked out of them, I guess. And so yeah, she's gonna investigate that, and it really didn't start, like, still at 60% I felt like there wasn't much investigation going on. It was barely starting. I found the world very confusing, the setting of it. I could tell that it was supposed to be some sort of dystopia, but you had really little information given to you. I just couldn't figure out when was this story taking place. What was the world like? Was it like our world? Was it a different version of it? Was it in the future? I don't know. It should have been explained. You have to explain what's going on, what it is, when it is, and all that. Like, it just makes sense to have that in there. So everything was just confusing, and I thought that it was poor writing to me, so I just decided to DNF it. And last night I continued with the marionettes. I'm almost like halfway through, and finally I am enjoying it a lot. I think I got over that slump that I was having last week. So yes, this is what I was expecting, what I wanted out of it. This is it. So it's great, I'm enjoying it. Basically we're following Valerie, who's a blood witch at an academy. She's doing an initiation for the marionettes, which is a very, very prestigious witch league. And in this book, the witches serve the vampires, and obviously the humans also serve the vampires and the witches. So it's very interesting. A few things about the world is a little bit confusing, but otherwise I'm enjoying it. And I've decided to continue this vlog up until the end of the month. So because last week I didn't have much footage of reading, and this is supposed to be a reading vlog, not a cooking vlog. So I don't know if I'm gonna honestly be able to read my last book. I might switch it up for something else that's a bit shorter. I don't know, we'll see. Alright, so I just finished this book. I had only a few pages left last night, but I wasn't sure if I wanted to finish it because I knew it was going to be a cliffhanger, so I was like, I'm not sure, whatever. But this morning when I woke up, I would just wanted to get it over with and pick up the next book. So I did that. I have to say the ending was not as surprising as I was expecting it to be. I don't know for the cliffhanger aspect of it. What are my thoughts about this book? I enjoyed it. I had fun with it. This was exactly what I was expecting it to be. It was also what I needed because I was slumping a little bit. So it did what it did nicely, but at the same time, you know, if you think a little bit more about the plot and the characters and things like that, you might have issues because there's so many plot points. Do you have something to say? There's so many plot points and we don't get any answers throughout the book. We might have gotten maybe one half answer about something, but it's not even, we don't even know the full answer of it. It's just the beginning, you know, of it. And there's so many plot points that have been started. It's kind of a mess because, like I said, nothing gets resolved at all. Like, nothing gets resolved at all. And that's a bit disappointing. You always want to have something at least that got resolved. And I don't feel like that happened. I also didn't really find that this was a romance because there is like a long-term relationship in this, but honestly they barely talk. I don't know, it's barely on the page. So that's very weird. I had a really hard time connecting with that. I see that maybe the other romance is gonna be a slow burn, so maybe that's just the setup. So that's fine with me, like it's not a problem at all. But I was a bit surprised. I thought there was going to be more chemistry, I guess. I think the world building was lacking. There are a lot of questions I have about this world. And the rules and the limitations and all that, because it's interesting, you know. I want to know more. I want to know what makes the people live this way and all that stuff. I liked that the author didn't shy away from you know, telling it like it is, so that was good. Also, the main character seems to have it all, you know what I'm saying? Like, as the story progresses, she discovers things about herself and things like that, and it's just like, okay, all right. I mean, I guess the beginning part of it feels a little bit different than the rest of the book in terms of the tone, in terms of where the plot is going. There are a few things that are a little bit wonky also, or that I'm wondering if I missed the explanation or things like that. So in this book, basically Valerie, the main character, is going through this initiation in order to become part of the Marionettes, which is the Witches League. So during this initiation, she is being paired with the prince of the vampires of this estate, or like this region. And they have to, when they pair, they have to do a blood exchange in order to have this bond. There was like something strange about it that I was like, I wasn't sure why. I don't know, there was something weird about that one. I feel like maybe if I talk about it too much, it might be a bit too spoilery. Also, the Valerie calls the prince Reginald instead of Reed, like he asked her to do. The whole book she calls him like that up until like the end, where she randomly switches to Reed. So that was weird. I didn't like that. And also throughout the book I was like, why are you calling him like that? And the end, it's just like a clusterfuck of plot points happening and being thrown at you. And I think this is where maybe the book is struggling, because it would have really needed to be a little bit longer and solve some of those plot points. I mean, I'm guessing that the author has an idea of where she wants everything to go, but I think that it just really feels like we left this book in the middle of the story for this book. And also the main character is kind of oblivious about something, and it's really frustrating because it's so obvious to you. And when things are obvious, like really obvious and there could be an easy fix. It's really where I am struggling to make excuses for the book or stuff like that. So there's that. So because they're living with vampires and stuff like that, their life schedule is switched, so they live more so during the night and they sleep during the day. But I had a really hard time figuring out what time of the day we were in. I don't know, I just didn't have a good grasp of how it was working, that every time it kind of like pulled me out of the story because I wasn't sure if it was dark or if it was daylight. Obviously I could say more about this book, but I think for what it is, it was really fun to get through and I enjoyed it, you know. And like I said, if you don't look too much into it, I think you'll enjoy it also. I'm excited to pick up the next one. I'll definitely continue with the series. I think it's just, you know, it's really easy to read and it's nicely written also, which is a bonus point. So, you know, I'll take it. I had a fun time. I wish, excuse me, I wish people would talk more though. I don't understand this imbalance between being in your thoughts, descriptions, and dialogue. Like there's always less dialogue than there should be in a lot of books. I don't get it. And it always leads to miscommunication or just lack of communication. It's just frustrating to me. I hate that. I'm someone who needs communication. So anyway, all right, and this clip has been quite long, so I only have 2 days left, I think. Yeah, because today's Wednesday, so we are almost at the end. And I was going to read Son of the Storm next, but I don't know if I'm gonna, because it's a big book. I don't think I'm gonna read it in 2 days. Like, I know I'm not gonna read it in 2 days. And I do have an audiobook for another book that is about to expire. I don't know what I should do. I don't know. But it makes me think that I need to enter my books. I forgot to do that. Oh, and also I should do the choice. Alright, so we are at the Obsidian Falls and we end up all being poisoned. So, what do we do? A. Find a herbal remedy nearby. There's always one if you know what to look for. You might try a few, but if you know your plants, you'll find a combination before time runs out. B. Find the first aid kit and construct a magical apparatus that tests your blood composition to locate and filter out the poison. C. Gather yourself, focus, and jump to the point before the poison... What? And jump to the point before the poison gets into your system, folding time itself. You won't be able to do this again anytime soon, but this occasion grants it. I'm confused. So I guess that won't be that one. D. Call upon the restorative magic to slowly pull the poison out. It might take a while, but it's thorough work. Pain is to be mortal after all, and it's their way of reminding you of it. Well, I think Willow would just go with A. Like, it's pretty easy to me. Obviously, she, like I said, she grew up in nature, so she would definitely know a lot of herbal remedies and things like that. She'd be really interested in using herbs to heal and to do spells and stuff like that. So for sure A. Well, that was easy. There is another one, but I have to read it first and then I'll come back later on once I have an update also on my reading. So I have to figure out what I want to do. so I'm back to close the vlog. So I was reading Son of the Storm for my last prompt. I read about 90 pages and I am really enjoying it. So I actually decided, since I only had one day left, that I would put it aside and try to read it throughout maybe like a few days or a week, because I want to make sure that, because there's so much information, this is a very rich world and there is a lot of things to learn, there's a lot of people, you know, I am enjoying it, so I want to make sure that I get everything out of this book and not miss anything. So instead, for the prompt, which was read a book with a map, I just decided to go with a comic book. It took me a while to figure out what comic books have maps, so if you have any recommendation for that, I'll be super interested. I couldn't find a list or anything like that. Anyway, so I did find one. This one was Vox Machina Origins, and it was the Critical Role Volume 1, I think. So I think it was a bind up of all the origin stories of the heroes in that comic book. It's based on characters that were created by voice actors that had a Dungeons and Dragons sort of podcast, I guess, or something like that. So I didn't know that, but apparently it's super famous. I enjoyed it. The art style is not something I usually would go for, but it worked for what the story was about. However, I think that the characters and the emotions could have been a little bit more obvious, and also the bubbles were a little bit weirdly placed. So there were a few things like that that were a bit hindering my enjoyment of the story. I really enjoyed the humor. I thought it was really funny and the story was interesting. I liked how it was set up, but I don't think I would continue with the series. So I cannot believe that we did it. We did it! The Magical Readathon, the Novice Path is finished. It's pretty amazing. So I did have my last choice, which was, you had this opportunity of choosing between different scrolls of magic, and I chose the scroll of the scroll of lore. She just had posted a video where she basically, it was just so much fun. She thought about everything. It was so well thought out. It was really fun. All those questions that we had to answer, whatever you chose, you would assign a shape to it, and then whichever shape you had the most of would correspond to a guild. So that was so much fun. That just reminded me of those tests that you would take in magazines when, you know, you were younger, and that was really fun. But it's so funny because I actually got all the shapes. I got one square, one circle, one diamond, and 2 triangles. So it's kind of like, am I really supposed to be in the Triangle Guild? I don't know. Honestly, I could have seen Willow be in 2 guilds specifically, so I'm really happy with the one that I got because I think it does fit her character. Although I think we could have gone with, I think it's the Order of the Crescent. We could have gone with that one because it's a lot about nature and animal companion and all that stuff. So I think that would have fitted Willow a lot, but it would probably have fitted me a little bit more. So in the end, Willow matched with the Mindwalkers Guild. So I am baffled. Like, it just sounds so fun, so amazing. I'm really excited to figure out more of Willow's character and where her story is gonna go, and I'm really excited for April when we're gonna actually get to classes and things like that. Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun at the Orilium Academy. I will leave down below G's video explaining all the guilds and what they are about and the extra little things each guild has. I think I'm gonna do a September wrap-up, so in that video I will summarize everything and tell you which book was for which prompt and all that stuff. So I think I'll do that instead of doing here, because this is getting quite long with all those clips of me making food. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed. If you participated in Magical Readathon, let me know how it went for you. Were you able to survive the novice path? Let me know if you had a book that really stood out for you. Thank you so much for watching all those vlogs. I will make sure to link the playlist down below of all the vlogs for this month for you to check out if you haven't yet. It was really fun to do so. You know, I was quite productive with my YouTube channel in this month, but I actually got really great news yesterday, and that's why I really wasn't able to read much. I also had started this project where I cleaned up the office and took like everything out of boxes and things like that. So I didn't actually have time to read much, and because of this good news, I don't think I'll be able to be as productive on this channel for a little bit until I adjust. So it was actually the perfect time for me to do a readathon like this, and I had just so much fun. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more vlogs, make sure to subscribe, and thank you so much for watching. Bye!